afternoon, Auburn Alliance Church family. We're here again for 5 to 5. Welcome to our time of just talking. Pastor Jim and I are going to be interacting this afternoon about last night we had Elevate. First time we've had an in-person ministry start back up since the start of the COVID crisis.
Beginning of March.
Since the beginning of March, right.
April, May, almost 4 months.
Right. So, yeah, 4 months.
4 months.
4 months of no in-person ministry. And last night was the first time that we got back together for Elevate. And we just wanted to talk a little bit about that. And then something that we're seeing and experiencing by interacting with people that we thought we would begin to share with you all as we start taking steps to come back to in-person ministry. So,
yeah,
Elevate was fantastic last night. The discussion, spiritual conversation, leveraging relationships, all that part about reaching the lost, and so we continuing in that theme as it relates to developing a culture of discipleship. We had set it up for people to come in, sit down. You know, they came in with masks on, sanitized their hands, sat down, and then they were able to take their masks off.
Once they were in their space.
Once they were in their space. Everybody stayed six feet apart, and then, but then we had also people that were in Zoom.
Yeah.
So I think we had 2/3 in Zoom, a third in person.
That's what it looked like. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we just wanted to share that with you. But one of the things that we're noticing is that, and this is through conversation with different individuals, is that there is a level of nervousness associated with coming back together with in-person ministry. And so we just thought we would talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, they say it takes about 60 days for us to form a habit, whether it's a good habit or a bad habit. In 60 days, you can form a habit or you can break a habit. So considering that we have spent 4 months socially distancing ourselves, some of us quarantining ourselves in our house for the most part, just being by ourselves in our family unit. And now all of a sudden we're stepping outside of that.
Yeah.
And we're starting to come into a place where there's other people around us. And I think that stepping into a place with other people around us in church is different than like going to Walmart to go pick up some groceries.
Right.
Because you can still pretty much stay to yourself when you're at Walmart, because most of those people there are strangers. So you get your space and they give you your space and they get their space, and you just kind of feel okay with that. But we're so used to walking into church and not giving people space at church, but coming into their spaces and giving them hugs and handshakes and high fives and stuff like that. And here we are coming back to a familiar place, but we're doing it in an unfamiliar way. And it creates this awkwardness within ourselves of, how am I going to do this? It just seems so different. It seems so odd. And I felt that last night.
Yes.
I felt the awkwardness of being back together in person. And the awkwardness for me came across in 2 different ways. One was having the mask on, greeting people that way, and being spread out far more than we've ever been spread out before. And then I found myself, when I was starting to teach, it was this awkward feeling of, how do I teach people that are in front of me? I've gotten so used to just speaking to the camera.
To the camera, yes.
And now I have people in front of me, and I'm like, well, who do I talk to? Do I talk to the people that are in the camera, or do I talk to the people that are in the room? And it was this internal tension for me of, I got to give everybody my time, and I almost had to learn how to speak again in front of people.
Wow. So there was a couple of people that said to us that just being in a room where there was more than just a handful of people, there was an unseen tension that they felt.
Yeah.
And they weren't really sure. They hadn't been used to that. 4 months of, social distancing, quarantining. You still see people on television. You're still watching 5 to 5s, but they just being in a room where there was maybe more than a dozen people, they realized that they had this internal pressure, but they didn't really know what it was. And as we were interacting with them, we realized that it's associated with the watershed of the social distancing, not used to being with people. And so that's one of the reasons why we want to bring this up, is that as we start taking steps as a church to come back into in-person ministry, we wanted you to be aware of the fact that it's normal for you to feel uncomfortable in the context of other people that you normally should feel comfortable with, but you haven't been with them for 4 months, and that internal tension is gonna feel uneasy. And we just wanted you to be aware of that and to be thinking about that. And of course, it's an issue that we can pray about as a church and as followers of Christ. But to just be thinking about that, and as you take steps of stepping out and beginning little baby steps toward social interaction in a protective way, that it's normal for you to feel that kind of attention. And we just wanted you to know that that's what we're aware of, and we understand that. And we're going to have to give people room, not just because of the 6 feet, but we need to give people the room to feel that way. And we want to give you the freedom to feel that. That's what we want you to know.
And it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to come back to church and everything's going to be back the way it used to be and you're going to feel great about it. You're going to walk away from your first church experience going, well, that didn't go the way I thought it was going to go.
Right.
Or I have this inner tension that's there. What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
And the answer is there's nothing wrong with you.
That's correct.
This is part of the situation we're experiencing right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, the closest thing I can explain is if you had like an illness, even you had a bad flu that took you out for 4 or 5 days, or maybe a whole week, you're out of work for a whole week, and you go back to work the next Monday, and all of a sudden you're just like, wow, I haven't been here in a whole week. And maybe you're not feeling great inside yet. You're not 100%. And it's just this awkwardness about trying to figure out how to get back into that work routine. Well, you get into that within a couple of days because you weren't gone very long. Mm-hmm. It's just this awkwardness that you kind of have to work through. Maybe even you do that in a whole day. You're just through it. But 4 months is a long time to be away from something. Think about if you've never driven, you didn't drive for 4 months, and the first time you sit in the car, you get like, well, how do I start this again? Right?
That's right.
But you do. You start it, and you remember it, and you work through it, and you're glad you're driving. And I just want to invite you to be willing to step into the awkwardness of this. Mm-hmm. And, I validate that some of us have reasons to wait a little while before we come in.
That is true.
Whether it because of some things that we have in our mind with thoughts, or whether it be some health issues that we have, or something else, we give you permission to wait. When the doors open, don't be the first ones to come through.
Right.
But if you are the first ones to come through and you're like, well, maybe that wasn't the right idea.
Right.
Then just process through that. Mm-hmm. Take some time working with it. Mm-hmm. Invite somebody into conversation with that so that you can dialogue with them about that. And let's work through it, because we want to get to that place where we're all back together again.
Yeah.
And it's going to take some time, but it's worth doing it.
Yeah. So last night, one of the things that I noticed after Elevate, those that were there, and we had closed down Zoom, and those that they stayed. A large majority of the people put their masks on, knowing that they were going to be exiting and they're going to be interacting. They were going to be within 6 feet of other people, but they hung around and talked. Yeah. And they hung around with the masks on. They first started inside. Then they went outside. The weather was beautiful outside. And so then they went outside, and then they talked in the parking lot. And that was awesome to watch, as you can see this is part of the stepping stones to coming back to a place of normalcy. And so that was just neat to watch. We went through the teaching that God has been directing us in as it relates to developing a culture of discipleship and leveraging our relationships that we have, but also understanding that God used last night as a part of us getting back to normal. And we just want to give you that freedom to feel that understanding that anxiety that is going to be getting around people again. And in particular, like if you've gone out to the store and you've do you notice people that aren't wearing masks when you go to Walmart or Wegmans or to Home Depot or Lowe's? I noticed them, particularly those that are not wearing their masks. It's just, I understand that. We understand this. And so we want to walk with you in this, and because we're feeling it as well, and we just want to give you the freedom to feel that as well. So we are looking forward to when we can come back together, in-person ministries, on a normal basis, Sunday morning worship. We're hoping at some time in July that to take place. We haven't decided that point yet, but we're looking at sometime in July. And of course, with the idea of wearing masks and, hand sanitizing and still keeping the 6-foot distance, but still being able to enter into a time of corporate worship together. We are really looking forward to that as a church family, to be able to do that. So thank you so much. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for encouraging us, the notes, the words of encouragement, the virtual pat on the backs. Thank you so much for that. And just want you to know we love you. You are important to us. You really are. We are praying for you, and we are here for you. And so we look forward to being able to, you allow us back into your home to tomorrow's 5 to 5. Thank you very much.